How to never get laid off again. Here's the thing. The first 7 years of my career, I literally got fired or laid off from every job I had. Like, that is not an over exaggeration. That is a real life stat. That was my experience. In fact, it got so bad that one day I came home early and one of my kids, I have 4 kids, one of my kids said, "Dad, you got laid off again?" Like, it was like, no, I didn't. Number one. Number two, go to your room, right? It was that much of a common occurrence in my life that it was even noticeable by my children, right? And so I went through that period of time where I felt disposable. I felt like I could be thrown away in just a matter of seconds. I literally felt like a cog in a wheel, like a number. And for the most part, I was. Fast forward to today, the last 10 years of my career has been some of the most wonderful days, wonderful weeks, years, months of my career. I've had so much fun doing the things that I do. Not only have I never been laid off or fired again, I have more work than I can handle on my own, so I've had to bring in people to help me with those things. In addition to that, I've made more money every year since 2014 than I made the year before. And I want to show you some of the things that help me do that so that you can apply them to your life. And I've done it specifically in the field of HR. I didn't do it any other way. There wasn't some super tricks. I was watching these TikTok videos last night, and they were like, I make $40,000 by in quarters with laundromats. And it's like, no, you don't. You don't do that. So I haven't done anything like that. It has all been HR related, and I want to share those things with you and hope that you can grab some of those principles and use them in your life. And then at the end, we'll have time for Q&A if you have questions to ask. Here's the number one thing that I did. I prioritized passion. Now, I know some of you are thinking, okay, prioritize passion. That's very foo-foo. I've heard that before. It's not foo-foo. It's very logical, in fact. I prioritize passion because of this specific reason. When you're passionate about something, passion actually unlocks patience. And when patience is unlocked, patience unlocks persistence, and persistence leads to performance. Let me tell you what I mean by that. When you are passionate about something, you spend more time with it. I love the quote from Einstein. He said, "It's not that I'm so smart, it's that I spend more time thinking about the problems than other people." So he comes up with better solutions. The passion of what you are doing unlocks the patience to deal with the issue long enough to figure it out, which is a source of persistence, and then you get to performance. When I was passionate about the work that I did in the last 10 years, I spent more time on it than you would ever imagine. I used to be the guy that would hide from work. I would be the guy that at clocking in, I've been here for 1 minute, only 7 hours and 59 minutes so I can leave this place, right? It wasn't showing up to work that I had a problem with. It was the 8 hours waiting to leave that I had a problem with. I was one of those guys because I was not passionate about the work that I did. I did not enjoy it. One of the things that irks me to this day is when I run into people, and I get it, it's a societal problem, it's how we've been programmed, there's a lot to it, but I hate when I run into people in any type of role and you could just tell they're not passionate about it, they hate it, they don't want to be there. Like, if you don't want to interact with people, you probably shouldn't be a customer service rep. Like, let's just be honest. If you're not passionate about helping people, dealing with their issues, dealing with their problems, you probably shouldn't work in customer service. If you're not passionate about video recording, audio recording, you probably shouldn't be a videographer. My brother, who's on the other side of this camera right now, is extremely passionate about video. He would do it for free and has done it for free before he started his own company, and now he gets paid to do it because he had the passion that unlocked the patience to get good at it, the persistence to actually break through, and then the performance on the back end. So if you're not passionate about the work that you're doing, you're never going to have the ability to get good at it because excellence is built over time. I tell people this with my training programs all the time. When I come to your organization and we do strategy together and we think about how to get the new hires to perform well, most of the times we try to teach them things that are way too complex, way too fast. We have to start with the simple, basic things and give them enough reps, right? There goes that patience, that practice, and that persistence. We have to give them enough reps, and then we can build complexity and excellence over time. That's not something that you just wake up with. You can't microwave excellence. It has to be slow baked. You have to put it in the crock pot. That's why we need passion, because passion unlocks patience, patience unlocks persistence, and persistence unlocks performance. Here's the second thing I had to do. I had to find a problem that was of value to people and learn how to dominate it. You have to dominate the value that you bring to the organization. When I ask HR people what value they bring to the organization, they start to mention all the things that have nothing to do with the real problem the business was created to solve. No matter what business you're in, no matter what industry you serve, every business has one objective, and that objective is to make a profit. Because if the business no longer makes a profit, we no longer get paid. I see all of these conversations going back and forth. Well, is HR for the business or is it for the people? Is HR for the employee or is it for the employer? It's really a symbiotic relationship. They actually work together. But here's the thing. All of us are working for the business. All of us are working to make a profit for the business. And so when I say find a problem that is of value and dominate that problem, you have to care about what the business cares about. The business cares about the ways that they make money and the ways that they are or could potentially lose money. If your value is not around one of those two things, you're not going to have a lot of value in the organization. You have to make sure that you find value in areas that people actually care about. I worked with a company, and one of their biggest issues was turnover. They were losing people left and right. I started to do research on the financial impact of turnover to the business and then develop strategy that would help them decrease that turnover. That's a real value add. Right now, one of my biggest value adds is I help people align with the right process to produce the right performance. You can call it training, you can call it manager training, you can call it leadership training. But when people are underperforming, people call me to come to their business. We're going to look at the process. We're going to look at how you train them. We're going to look at how you coach them. We're going to look at how they're being led. We're going to look at all of those things to get the right performance out of your people, because we all know that if we can grow our people, we can grow our business. That's the value that we bring to the organization. If you don't have value that you can bring, that you can financially quantify to a business, you're going to struggle not getting laid off. I had a friend who worked at a particular company, and I won't say their name, but when they got there, it was all sunshine and rainbows, right? It was like, oh, you're going to be great here. We love to have you here. In fact, we've never hired anybody in HR internally, right? You're the first hire. We're going to let you make up your title. She's like, oh, this is going to be great. So she's dreaming up all of these wonderful ideas. She's like, I'm going to be a dream catcher, and I'm going to be a wish come true maker, and I'm going to be all of these things. And it sounds really good, right? People would love someone at the job that is dedicated to helping their dreams come true. But what realistic problem are you solving that's going to actually bring value to your business? When we start to look at the financial impact of the work that you do every day, that's how the new CFO that comes in, that's how the CEO, the COO, that's how they're going to evaluate the value that you bring to the business. It's all about what you can financially quantify. And that's words that HR people usually don't like to hear. They usually don't want to hear how we can financially quantify. We've sunken into this idea that we're just a cost center and that we are just going to be the place where money goes to die, that we haven't even start to begin to try to figure out the other side of HR, right? There's the reactive side of HR where the business is coming to us with problems, but then there's the proactive side of HR where we can actually help drive revenue for the company. So, number one, you have to be passionate. Number two, you have to find a problem of value and then work on dominating that problem. Because if you can't financially quantify why you should work somewhere, people are going to be really quickly to financially quantify why you shouldn't work somewhere. And I've had that happen so many different times. The third thing is this. You have to become about the business of business. If I could give HR one superpower across the board, it would be business acumen. Do you know how your business actually makes money? Do you know the life cycle of a customer at your company? Do you know when marketing dollars go out, how do they come back into the business? And even more importantly, How do you contribute to those things? That's usually things that HR doesn't concern themselves with, they don't understand, they don't think about, but it really hurts us in the long run when it comes to being laid off, because they're going to start with the people who don't have an impact to the life cycle, the cash cycle of a business. Think about this for a second. If you were running a lemonade stand and you wanted to set up lemonade stands all across the country, you were going to do 3,000 lemonade stands from California to New York, and you wanted to hire people, and you had to hire management, and you had to hire staff, and you had to hire HR, you had to hire all these people. If you experience a downturn in business where you're not sure you're going to be able to make it financially, who are you going to cut first? The people not helping you sell more lemonade. The people not helping you cut costs and cut waste to sell lemonade. That's a silly example, but I want to break it down to its simplest form. So as HR professionals, we know that we have to now take the work that we do and attach it to the financial impact of the business. Here's the hurdle between those two options that I just gave you, those two things, the work that we do and the financial impact. We know we have an impact because we talk to the people we're impacting on a consistent basis. We're actually in the business with the manager. We're actually in the business with the frontline employees. We're actually in the business with the supervisors. And so because we're in the business, we're talking to these people every day. We know the fires that we're putting out. We know the impact that we're having on their lives. We understand all of the people that maybe would have left the company, but now they stayed because of us. But we never tie that back to real dollars and revenue. We never tie that back to our retention levels. We never tie that back to production. We never tie that back to the actual dollars and cents of the business. And when you don't do that, that's when you start to leave yourself vulnerable for being laid off or being fired or being disposable, because you cannot financially quantify the work that you're actually putting in on an everyday basis. I worked for a company in a training and development capacity, and when I first got there, they were telling me about all these problems they had, right? All these issues and obstacles and things that were going wrong and things they wanted to do different. And I started asking questions, poking around about the finances. And the leader literally told me, hey, stay in your lane, HR. You don't get to know about the money. Like a leader literally told me that, right? And so we had to have a conversation, and I had to let him know, I understand that you don't think HR has anything to do with the money, but I also understand that one of your goals is to drive the financial interest of the business. And so if you want me to help you with this project, we have to find a way to ensure that what we're doing is actually going to move the needle. I'm not one of those HR people that's just going to be an order taker. I'm a deal maker. The difference between an order taker and a deal maker is the order taker is just going to sit there, and whatever request the business has, they're just going to do it, never thinking about the financial impact of the decisions that they're making. Never even asking if this is the right way to go about it. A deal maker is going to ask questions. They're going to build that true stakeholder relationship, be that trusted advisor, ask questions to make sure that not only are we doing something, but the things that we're doing are the right things to do, and that we could actually measure the impact. How are we going to know when we get there? How are we going to know when we're successful? We need to make sure that we do those things. Here's another thing that really helped me and shaped my career. I had to make sure that my network was really strong. Never, ever, ever, as an HR professional, or really any professional, never, ever stop networking. HR is a very small town. In fact, it's so small that they had to hang a mirror on one side of town to make the town look bigger. Like, it is a very, very small town. We have to make sure that we never stop networking, never looking for opportunities to connect with other people, never stop looking for ways to add value to the HR community, whether it's there locally, wherever you live, or online. The HR community is all over the place. And ever since 2014, when I started to dominate the value of the problems that I bring to the business, solutions that I bring to the business, I started to become known for that value. Almost every lead I ever got, every contract I ever did, every job I ever did came from a referral. The last 3 jobs that I've ever held, I didn't even have to interview for them. It was solely, I know HR people are like scratching their head like, that's not fair. It was solely based on a relationship, right? I had a reputation of dominating certain problems that preceded me. I had this reputation of bringing value in a way that preceded me. So when other people in the HR community started to hear, hey, this company has a problem with training, this company can't onboard new hires, this company doesn't have any type of manager or leadership training program, the name Tony Sanders start to pop up like this. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just saying the value of the things that I'm trying to teach you today of understanding how passion unlocks performance, understanding how you have to find a problem that you're going to dominate and dominate it 100%, understanding how to be about the business of business. People never have a problem paying me because I can always financially quantify how I'm going to give them their money back. When someone says we have a new hire retention problem and people are coming in and they're leaving every 90 days, I now can go do some research, figure out how much money they're spending on acquiring that person through talent acquisition, figure out how much money they're spending training that person for 90 days. You have to pay a trainer. Figure out what the salary is for 90 days. Oh, by the way, if they stay day 91, now benefits kick in. Now I can financially quantify how big of an issue this is. If I'm in talent acquisition, I can financially quantify how much money we lose based on the amount of days that we have an open requisition, right? If I know that we have this position vacant for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, I now can go back and financially quantify how important it is to fill those positions within a certain time window. Right. So the thing that I'm trying to drive home the most is I want to make sure that we are quantifying our value. HR doesn't usually have a problem bringing value. We definitely have a problem measuring the value that we have to bring. And so those are the 4 things that I want to show you about never getting laid off again. You have to be passionate about the work that you do. You can tell by the energy that I'm bringing right now that I'm super passionate about the work that I do. You have to make sure that you have a problem of value that you can dominate. You have to be about the business of business, and you have to never stop networking. Your networking is going to keep you connected to opportunities. You know, the worst part of being laid off, it wasn't that I didn't have a job anymore. It wasn't that I couldn't do that work anymore. I usually hated the work, to be honest. I was kind of happy that I didn't have to do that anymore because I wasn't passionate about it. The biggest part is I had to go home and look at my wife and look at my 4 children and tell them that I lost my job and I don't know how I'm going to financially provide for this family. The worst part of getting laid off is when we got behind on bills and I had to get evicted from our home and sleep in my car for 3 months on and off because I couldn't pay my bills. The worst part of getting laid off is that I didn't have more opportunities or people that I could lean on or a problem that I could go solve for somebody that would help me take care of my family. That's why I'm passionate about this work, because the pain that I experience, I never want anybody else to experience that pain. And I found a way to avoid it over the last 10 years. I've been at companies where we've done massive layoffs. I was at a company once and they were going to do layoffs and my name came up on the list. And the chief people officer had a meeting with me and said, hey, we're trying to do budget cuts. I've been fighting for you in our executive meetings. Here's what I'm going to propose to you. You bring tremendous value to this organization. I want to make sure that we keep you on as a contractor, so we'll actually pay you a retainer on a monthly basis. We'll give you an additional 30 days to stay on, keep benefits, all those other things. And oh, by the way, I have 2 other companies that could use your services. Maybe you could work for all 3 of us for a while. It'll probably end up being more money than what you're making right now, and you'll still have benefits for the next few months. Like, that is being connected to opportunities. Think about the difference between me walking into a place and they just have a sign and an HR lady hands me an envelope saying that you're being laid off versus them saying, hey, we're making budget cuts, but we still want to keep you around and we're going to connect you with 3 other opportunities. It's because I was passionate about my work, which made me good at it. It unlocked my performance. It was because I understood the value of the problem that I was there to solve and that I got good at solving. It was because I understood the business of business. I could always financially quantify what I was doing for a company. And most importantly, it was because I built strong relationships in my networking. So that's the video I have for you today, the training. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm free to take questions. I know we have people here in Zoom. We have people here streaming live on TikTok. HR is on TikTok now, if you haven't known. And it's more than just funny videos. So I'm here to answer any questions you have. I appreciate all of you being here.